You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Today's question comes from a woman I'll call Mary. How can I best communicate with my INTJ boss? I'm an INFP and I thrive in a work environment that's supportive and non-judgmental where I can easily read people's emotions and intentions. My work environment isn't like this at all. My boss is a self-reported INTJ. She has her door closed a lot, giving me the impression that she's not open to communicating and she wants to be left alone. She's not warm and she can come across as aloof or sometimes sarcastic and intimidating. For some reason, I'm nervous about communicating with her, but I want to have a good working relationship. So let me start by saying this. People tend to communicate in the way that they want to be communicated with. Regarding Mary's question, I'm first going to talk about the natural communication style for INTJs and then INFPs, and then I'll discuss strategies for each to implement to better understand and work with each other. But first, here's what a discussion between an INFP and an INTJ might sound like.
I'm terrible at setting goals. I really need to figure out how to set goals.
You should read 9 Things Successful People Do Differently. This book has got everything you need to set achievable goals. The key is to anticipate obstacles and use the power of positive thinking to overcome them.
Oh, I guess I should read that.
Oh, it changed my life, I'm telling you, it was a great book.
1 month passes, then at a happy hour.
I really enjoy setting goals, but I never achieve them. Seriously.
Read that book that I told you about.
Yeah, I need to do that. I feel like such a horrible person.
Another month passes, and at lunch with colleagues.
I missed my goal again. Why do I always do this?
Look, we talked about this. Your goals aren't realistic. I recommended a book. You haven't read it. I can't discuss this anymore. It's like you secretly hate all my advice.
This interaction is very typical between an INFP, played by Teresa, and an INTJ, played by my producer and web designer, David. Did you notice that the INFP did not ask for help? They just put their thoughts out into the world. INTJ David interpreted this as Teresa asking him to solve a problem. A quick and wise solution for INTJs who have dug similar holes.
Can I help you with your goals?
Or,
what would be helpful for you?
INTJ types tend to be direct, straightforward, and logical communicators. As people who naturally see how anything can be improved, they are likely to communicate their critiques in a well thought out and insightful way. They want to be seen as competent, not necessarily nice or friendly. INTJs therefore aren't as concerned with being appreciated or liked, and communicating in this way doesn't always come naturally for them. INFPs, on the other hand, have a flexible, accommodating communication style. Supporting others is very important for INFP types, as is accepting other people's viewpoints in a non-judgmental way. They aren't naturally direct in their communication style, which can be frustrating or confusing for people like INTJs who want a straightforward, candid approach. INFPs believe that each individual person has a valid viewpoint and deserves to be listened to and understood. A lot of the misunderstanding and conflict that revolves around INTJ-INFP communication styles will, in my opinion, be due to the cognitive function of extroverted thinking. This function is all about maintaining objective logic, organizing facts, adhering to the rules, and fixing anything in the external environment that requires fixing. People who naturally use this function, like INTJs, are suspicious of sentiment and emotions, but they trust what they can verify with facts. Extroverted thinking does not come naturally to INFPs. In fact, it is the last function to develop, and it's therefore the least comfortable place for an INFP to be. INFPs long to be understood. but it's very difficult for them to understand extroverted thinking, and they may even find this function threatening. An INTJ uses extroverted thinking all the time. It's what they do. INTJs seek first to know, then to understand. It's the opposite for INFPs, who seek to understand and then to know. So it's easy to see where a conflict can build here. INTJ's need is knowledge. INFP's need is acceptance. The methods and the needs of each are in direct conflict, and they each can easily feel rejected and misunderstood. And the irony is that neither intends to make the other feel that way. Here are some strategies that INFP types like Mary can use when communicating with INTJ types. First, be direct. INTJs are not naturally attuned to social niceties and would much rather get straight to the point. Explain the purpose of your communication and get to the task immediately. Second, ask for their insights. INTJs will keep their thoughts and ideas to themselves unless they're asked or prompted to share. In these cases, you may be surprised by their depth and the extent to which they've already analyzed, and this may allow you to expand your own perspective of the same situation. Make sure you give the INTJs ample time to reflect upon your question. Third, be ready for critique or challenge. Remember that INTJs critique or challenge everything, as they naturally see ways for anything to improve. It's important for you not to take this personally, as it is not personal at all. Last, keep the emotions out of it. It's very stressful, especially at work, for INTJs to deal with emotions. Emotions aren't logical to them and can be a source of frustration and potential conflict. As much as possible, keep work and personal emotions separate. Now, INTJs, I'm talking to you. There are some things you too can do to better facilitate communications with your INFP coworkers, friends, and family. First, try not to be overly logical or critical in your approach. INFPs can very quickly become uncomfortable in an environment of cold analytical criticism, and this isn't where they will be able to function at their best. Learn to provide feedback gently and develop more of a focus on human values and encouragement. Remember that they value compassion and expect the same in return. Taking a little time to get to know what's important to them individually will go a long way. Second, don't assume you understand their perspective unless you've taken the time to listen. They don't want someone constantly advising them on what to do. If they share with you, they want you to help them process, maybe analyze, what they're thinking. Give them time to be their best introverted selves and figure things out on their own time. Third, be mindful of the fact that INFPs value the needs of people over the need for results. Try not to be overly task or goal-oriented in your approach. Imposing rigid timelines without flexibility or trying to control them or play mind games will, trust me, cause more problems than fun for you. Wrapping it up here, any two Myers-Briggs types can have challenges communicating. Some of the pitfalls of INTJ and INFP communication will likely revolve around the differences in thinking and feeling, as well as the INTJ's need for closure and the INFP's need for flexibility. INFPs can facilitate communication with INTJs by being direct, genuinely expressing interest in what their INTJ is working on or interested in, and at work, be ready for critiques and try to keep emotions out of conversations. Remember that INTJs don't naturally use emotions to communicate. INTJs can help their INFPs by listening, not fixing, encouraging, not criticizing, and allowing for flexibility in their approach. Remember that for INFPs, emotions and feeling carry as much weight as reason and facts. INFPs and INTJs will be able to communicate and work wonderfully together if they're both willing to take the time and effort. I'll end this with a thought I stated at the beginning, as it's so important. People tend to communicate in the way they want to be communicated with. Thank you for the question, Mary.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.